Every Christian, regardless whether you're a male or female, you need to watch this movie, right? It has so many lessons to draw from. So there are people who've already watched it because it's quite a trendy movie. But then for those who've not watched it, we are quickly going to go through a quick summary.
Okay, you know what? I'll tell you what it is, right? There you go. After before break up in a single year, I listened to Message on Faith. Now I've listened to Message on Faith before, but this one struck a nerve, and I decided to plan a wedding and trust God to give me a bride on or before the day.
Yes, that's right. Just like you saw in the video, a Christian guy, he never used to really believe in God, right? He believed in logical that this and this, it doesn't really add up, right? So he was a quite logical guy. But then one day he went to church and the preacher was preaching. So the preaching hit him differently. It was about faith. And he told himself, okay, I'm going to challenge this faith of mine. I'm gonna because in the same year he was in a relationship with four different women and none of them paid off. Like he broke up with the first one, second one, third one, fourth one. So if you watch the movie, you'll find out different reason, right? I want to keep this video short, so I'm not going to go through all of them. So the fourth one, all we know about the fourth one is she literally lacked money. She would ask him money all the time to buy her bag today, tomorrow she's still asking. So then he went to talk to his mom and he's like, okay, why am I the unlucky one? Most of the relationship are, just complaining and stuff like that. And after the preaching, he tells his mom, okay, I'm gonna taste this faith. For the whole month, I'm gonna get married on the 25th of December. I'm gonna get a wedding planner. I'm gonna pay for everything. But there's no bride.
See, fine, right? What Nigerian or African parent would give their daughter's hand in marriage to you?
Thank you.
As a wedding that you pre-planned yourself. Remember now.
There's no person. So his friend, his best friend, and his wife called him crazy and this type of things. But he's like, okay, I don't care. I'm gonna go with this, right? So that was the quick summary. As you can see, I wrote down some of the most important lessons, right? So we're gonna go through them. And the first lesson is faith, right? So this movie explains faith to the core. It's literally elaborates how we should see faith as Christians. Number one is faith is as a vulnerable spot. So he literally opened himself before God. He spent his money, and the wedding planner is like, no refund. If you don't get married, it's not my problem, right? So it's putting yourself at a vulnerable place. And the other thing that this movie taught us about faith is that they will look at you and be like, you're going crazy, right? The first time the guy went to tell everybody, okay, I'm planning for a wedding without a bride, they called him crazy. At a certain point, the first time he went to the pastor was like, okay, let's try this. But then when it became time for the wedding, first hour, no bride appearing. Second hour, no bride appearing. Even the pastor was like, okay, you know what? Even if this didn't happen. So he's like, okay, tell the people to go back home. Right. This didn't work out. So at a certain point, even the pastor was like, okay, this faith quiet. So there are people who are going to doubt you. There are people who are going to be like, okay, what you're thinking is so illogical. And that's one thing about faith. It's illogical. Nobody can understand. How does he get the bride one last minute? None of us can understand. So faith is illogical. You don't have to add 5, 6, 7, 8 to get an answer. Sometimes you can add 5 plus 10, but you get 1. That's one thing about faith. It's very illogical. You cannot understand it. You cannot explain it, right? And the other thing that we learned in this, his best friend and the other girl were busy, okay, laughing at him, telling him, no, this is not going to work, this is not going to work. But at the end, his faith and his marriage that worked out is what helped them also go ahead in their lives, right? It shaped for them a certain way for them to go ahead. They got married believing that, okay, if this guy did this and it worked out, okay, our marriage can also work out, right? So despite the fact that they were doubting him, deep down they were waiting and be like, okay, that 1% that he must just get it right so that it also goes right in our life. So number one, faith is illogical, put you as a vulnerable spot, and it doesn't have to make sense, right? It doesn't make sense. Even 5 days before the wedding, the guy was stressed. Nothing going on. And the other important thing about faith is it will be tested. The fact that you're trusting God will be tested. So, right, 5 days before the wedding, the guy wakes up, checks his calendar, nothing, no one. And at that point, he wanted to go to the wedding plan and ask her to be his wife. But then at the same time, when he found that she was engaged. So, I don't want to spoil the movie for the people who did not watch it, but right? Quick summary. And so the person he was hoping to kind of be his bride also just cut off everything, and he was disappointed. He told himself, okay, this thing is not really going to work. When he went to his best friend, he's like, okay, I told you, just because I'm not a pastor, I'm not a prophet, you guys thought, crazy stuff. So it is going to be tested. And at times he literally felt like giving up. But he continued, he went ahead with the plan. And I know the first lesson was kind of, the main theme of the movie, right? It was the main theme, that's why it took so long. But then we moved to our second lesson. And in the second lesson, we learned that in life, especially as a Christian, you need trustworthy Christian, reliable friends, right? We see in the movie that the girl was living with her best friend, right? And then her best friend was always the person bringing back to mind, telling her, okay, you know what, this guy you're engaged to is not going to bring you any further. So she literally just brought her back to reality all the time. She was more supportive. She helped her move forward. Without her best friend, I can honestly say maybe God would have made another path, because we know He has different thousand paths. But then her best friend literally is the person who helped her get out and made her realize, okay, the person you're engaged to is a person that is not going to come and marry you, because the guy got engaged, traveled, he's like, okay, I'm going to convince my parents. But since he went, he does not call, he does not do anything. Then we move to our fourth lesson, right? So for our fourth lesson, I read that blessing comes in the most unexpected ways, right? Our blessings, sometimes we expect our blessings to be like, okay, I invested that money there, this person is a person that I'm in a relationship, so I'm going to get married to them. This, you try to calculate everything and think just because I've calculated it's going to make sense, right? But when you look at the movie, those people were planning the wedding together. But then you would never even think at once that they would get married. Why? Because the girl was engaged, the man was engaged. So the perfect thing that, okay, this was just planning the wedding over. So at times, blessings are right in front of us. They're just 2 seconds in front of us. And then at that time, we're stressed. Our heart is just breaking because we cannot see. We cannot see it properly. They spent, okay, not really a month, but weeks, 3 weeks, about 3 weeks, being there praying for something that was right in front of them. So at times our blessings are just right in front of us. They are unexpected, right? They come from people that we least expect it from. Why? We don't know, because God just acts like that. It's literally just links back to faith. It happens unexpectedly. It happens at the moment with people. And then with that, we'll move to our fourth lesson, right? So our fourth lesson technically is what the mom told the guy when he went to tell her, okay, you know what, most of the statistics says that many people are happily married, but the main reason we don't even know about it is because they never talk about it. They're happy, and they think that because if they talk about it, it's going to damage everything. Then he's like, why am I so misfortunate? 4 people have passed, none of them. And why is this happening over? So he was just, complaining, lamenting, just going through a lot of things in his mind. Then his mom is like, okay, maybe that's the problem. The problem is that you have been searching everywhere to get that answer. Try and stay calm, right? And this is one thing that we, most of the Christians, do when we want something. When our heart, not even Christians, it's just a human nature. When something disturbs you, you go left or right. You go wherever you can find an open door, right? Of course, even the Bible says that, okay, invest everywhere. You don't know which one is going to pay one day. But at a certain point, you have to know, okay, no, at this point, let me just stay calm. Let me focus on this thing, and I hope this thing pays, right? And that's what the mom says. Maybe that's the whole problem. You're going left, right, thinking, okay, for this is my idea. This is what I want. If it does not come like this, then it's not gonna happen, right? And so at a certain point, you must stay calm. You must tell yourself, okay, I'm just focusing on this. And that's the only thing he did. He left going on dates. He left anything. The only thing he did was focused on the wedding plan. And at the end, we all know how it paid off, right? So at times as Christians, we must just stay focused. If you know it is your work, stay focused on your work. If you know it is this, stay and focus on it. Let's stop going searching left and right, pink and yellow, everything all together. So number 5, before we go to our last lesson, number 5 is you must always ask God if you're following the purpose or you're on the right track with Him, right? So this is what happened with the girl. Earlier on, she was working in the bar as a singer and everything, and then she hardly made a living. So she's like, okay, I'm going to move to a wedding. Some events happened, right? And so she moved, she started becoming a wedding planner. And as she started becoming a wedding planner, that way her character really developed, right? That way she got to meet the man she's going to get married and everything. And that was only that only took place because she was at the right place. She was at the right job opportunity. I don't think if she was in the bar, that work was still going to work. So this is why as Christians we must sit down at a certain point and ask God, God, why am I on earth? What is it that you want me to accomplish? Why am I breathing? Am I supposed to continue with this work? This, it's something, it's an everyday check. As I said in my past video, is our God is not a waster. He wakes you up every day with the purpose. So as you wake up in the morning, not only, okay, what am I supposed to do in 10 years, but right now, for today's day, what is it that you've set for me? What is it that you want me to accomplish? Right? She was at the right place. She found the right people. She found the right opportunities. So learn how to ask God to redirect you and be sensitive enough, right? Be light enough. Some people, when God says, okay, turn left, right, and you're like, okay, but I'm so far turning left already, but you still want me to turn right, and you start becoming heavy. No, but be ready. When he tells you left, you just lightly turn blindly. Like I said, faith is illogical, right? Because according to men, okay, I'm already 90% here. Why should I still go on the left? But it's like, no, go back on the left, make a U-turn and go. So learn your purpose. Ask God to redirect you every single day of your life, right? On the right purpose, on the right track of your life, you're going to find the right people. You're going to succeed in everything you do. And most importantly, that day when you go to heaven, and it's time for judgment. Many Christians think that God is only going to judge you. Okay, you've sinned, you didn't go to church, you didn't pray, you didn't meditate. No, he's going to judge you based off on that. I'm not saying he's not going to judge you on that, but he's going to judge you on that. But he's also going to judge you based off on, okay, I've given you $10. I told you, okay, you were supposed to be a doctor, five, six, seven. What did you ever do with them? He's going to judge you with it. He's going to judge you with what he has given you. He's going to judge you with the purpose you've set for him. God is an open God. Remember, every father is always excited and ready to talk to their children, even from a very young age. And that's the same thing with God. He wants to talk to you. He wants to tell you the purpose that He has set for you. So, right, our last lessons finally. So technically here we see two different type of relationships. The one that the girl was in, toxic, the guy confused her the whole time. 2 minutes, okay, I'm still interested into the marriage. 2 minutes, okay, phone off, house off, I traveled, I went to another country. And with the other one, we get it was calmness, right? It was calm, it was peaceful, it evolved, it helped go ahead. And this is one thing that I want to say when you're with the right people, regardless friendship or marriage, with the right people, it feels calm. With the right people, it feels peaceful. With the right people, there's a space for improvement, there's space for mistakes, right? And this is one thing that we must really, really, really know as Christians that when you're around the right people, you will know the right people because there's space for calm, there's space for improvements, there's space for mistakes, and all of those things. So, hey guys, so my constant people who watch my videos, you will know that once in a while I give a movie recommendation, I give a book recommendation, the ones that I think that all Christians must really watch because it is very important, right? And if you want me to do this often, you can just comment it. And to the people where, for example, I did not really touch on that topic, for another lesson that I did not really touch on and you want to share it, please just comment it on the comment section. And as we are about to finish, I want to say something. I really, really love this type of Nigerian movies, right? Where they put and include God in everything. Where when you watch, there's nothing that brings you to last, but still you feel so connected to God. And at the same time, you enjoy the movie so much, right? And this is the type of movies that we Christians should continue watching, right? We are not far from God, but at the same time, we enjoy and understand the movie, get lessons from God. It allows us to reflect, it increases our faith, it allows us to literally learn something from it. I'm not advertising the movie, I don't even know the producer, I don't know whatever, but I really thought that we should all watch this. So, have a wonderful day.